A long time ago, in the mystical time called the 80s, a really bad artist who doubled as a really bad writer sucked enough dick to somehow get hired at Marvel Comics. And the first thing he became famous for was taking over Marvel's X-Men spin-off book, The New Mutants, which he retooled into X-Force, which ushered in the dark, smelly, stupid era of comic books known as the 90s. Anyway, this asshole created a bunch of garbage characters such as Guy with Big Guns and Girl with Smaller Guns and White Face. One character he didn't even create, he just stole. See, since the New Mutants was created to compete with the far more popular Teen Titans, this cockthistle decided he needed a character like Deathstroke. And by like Deathstroke, I mean he changed the colors of the uniform from orange and blue to red and black, and changed the name from Slade Wilson to Wade Wilson. So instead of Deathstroke, it was Deadpool. Thankfully, eventually this taintmonger who can't draw feet left Marvel, because for some reason people bought his book, so he thought he was actually good, and the adulation of teenage boys was so great that he suddenly thought he was too good to suck Marvel Comics' dicks. So, he instead made his own comic book company, and because he's mentally 12 years old, he called it Awesome Comics, which was an imprint of Image. So, Marvel was stuck with a bunch of garbage characters, but thankfully, some of the people at Marvel Comics have things like talent, common sense, and chimichangas. So, they retooled some of Dick Blast's characters to not suck anymore, and Deadpool became somewhat popular. Then not so popular, then somewhat popular again, then not so popular, then stupidly popular, then slightly less stupidly popular, then he was in a movie played by Ryan Reynolds, and then he was in another movie starring Ryan Reynolds. This is that second one, which has nothing to do with the first one, but god damn, movies these days are confusing. Anyway, Deadpool is a story about a bad guy who falls in love with a bad girl, and they make the sexy time with each other early and often, but then he gets cancer and some non-essential organs, and the government tells him they can fix it and make him a superhero, but not one wearing a green animated suit, so he agrees. But instead of being made into a superhero, he's just tortured by some British guy with spinach or something stuck in his teeth, right in the front, who does give him a healing factor, but also makes his face look like the inside of other people's assholes. So Deadpool is out for revenge. The story is told in a series of flashbacks so that moviegoers can get right to seeing Ryan Reynolds' crotch in skin-tight spandex without having to sit through an hour of origin story first. Who needs that? There's some X-Men characters because Fox wanted people to actually see the movie, but it's also rated R, and I mean a hard R, which made it hilarious to see all the 10-year-olds one by one get dragged out of the theater by their parents. Should have waited to Netflix and under the sheets while your parents are doing cocaine off a Burmese hooker's ass and... Where am I going with this? Oh yeah, the movie! So, this one's not for the kids, but it's definitely for the fans, despite the fact that they made some changes, like Blind Al being black. I guess no one cares, right? I mean, Heimdall, Blind Al, Roland Deschain, Keira Knightley, whatever. The main villain, Ajax, is actually a blend of two Marvel characters, Ajax and Killbrew, which is also fine, and Vanessa is a little older than in the comics because we don't want anyone to think that Ryan Reynolds gets down like Jared Fogle, you know what I'm saying? What follows is a movie with a lot of action, a lot of funniness, a few titties, Stan Lee, and yes, a few titties. So, what I'm saying is this movie was pretty good, highly amusing, well thought out, and just different enough from the average Joe Lantern Jaw to actually stand out in the crowd. Don't take the kids, but take yourself. Take yourself several times in rapid succession, then drink a Gatorade, and then you should go see the movie. I give it a chimichanga out of 10.